where it's good for us. If our hands dirty, if we don't want to be held accountable, if we don't want to hold ourselves accountable for the things we do that is keeping us from having a full life in Christ, and that's just me personally. I haven't been to church in a long while, and that's me. That ain't got nothing. Didn't nobody hurt me. I've been through the church hurt phase and realized that when it was, I'm church hurt because of what somebody did to me, then I realized, what the words say about I am the church. I hurt myself, my expectations. I expect church to be this perfect place, and everybody gonna have perfection, and everybody gonna say hi to me when I come. I mean, for little we find, like Bishop said, we find reasons. We find reasons to not go to church. We find reasons to find something wrong with it. So we're not gonna get everything out of it that you could get out of being a part of a family, a church family. Yeah. Because it's us. We don't take accountability. We don't want nobody to take accountability for us. We run from them. That's for the people who just fall and just don't want to, say, okay, I need to be in church. So this whole lounge was like a setup for me. You know what I mean? Because I can't say no to Darnell. You know what I mean? I can't say no to Darnell. He like, yeah, I need you to come Thursday and I need you to come Sunday. Okay. It ain't Darnell, it's the Spirit. It's the Spirit of God saying, okay, Derek, you know what you need to do. You know what you've been missing out on. So taking accountability and saying that, hey, I'm not going to church because I done smoked some weed. I ain't going to church this Sunday because I done got drunk the Saturday before or fornicated, committed adultery, whatever the case may be. Like, people that are saved need to be 100 with themselves and say, okay, I'm not going to church because I expected the church to be the best place for me to be at, and everybody's going to be perfect. And once I found out, that was my excuse to go get me another drink. No, you wanted the drink. It ain't got nothing to do with you wanted to go drink. Yeah. It ain't got nothing to do with what the church did or what the pastor didn't do or people didn't speak to you. So I think it's accountability, self-accountability, being able to tell yourself, hey, I'm not going to church because I want to watch a football game. And not allowing, if you're not going to let people tell you need to be in church and you're going to stay at home to watch the football game, then be 100 when you do go back and say, well, I wanted to watch a football game. Just being real with yourself. You'll get out of church what you open yourself up to get out of church, period.
Yeah. And I mean, again, just to let y'all know, y'all don't have to wait for me, to answer a question. If something come to your mind or whatever, just, spew it out there. You know what I mean? But one of the things that I noticed, and Lord help me with this, is when I was at work and people think that, I do my best to show Jesus while I'm at work, right? Show the light of Christ while I'm at work. Now, mind you, I've dealt with some things where, be transparent, I almost had to beat somebody up at work. Bishop, I'd have came to you I need to sit down for a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But just to be real, just because I have a title doesn't stop me from being human. And I think one of the biggest things is if a pastor or a leader at a church makes a mistake, somebody just, this church ain't good. That pastor up there doing this and that. That's a human being at the end of the day. He just has a position and he's still going to fall short. Paul tells the people in the Bible, I used to kidnap y'all. I'm the one that used to do all that to you. Now I stand up here at God's grace teaching you the gospel. So let me ask you guys this. Do people run from church and blame God because of what people do?
I think it's their own insecurities. I think a lot of times they already have doubt about themselves and they're waiting for something to put the blame on. So if the bishop makes a mistake, I knew it, because they were already in the church waiting, they had doubt. They already had insecurities of being there, because some people don't know how to walk through the door. They don't, because they think they got to walk through the door and be all either dressed up, or they got to come a certain way, or they got to have their life in a certain order. And if everybody remembers, Jesus said, come as you are. So no matter what you're going through, just walk through the door. But when they're walking through the door with doubt of who they are, then they thinking that the bishop or the pastor or the minister is supposed to be this on this pedestal, and then when they step down on that pedestal because something happened, they put that blame. Oh, this I knew I shouldn't have been in church. I knew I shouldn't have been going there because this it's a sign. It's a sign. That's their insecurity. That's their negativity talking to them, and that's why they don't like walking through the church because they were already scared in the first place. So I think that's all I got to say. My thoughts. Yeah.
What about you, Gary?
I don't remember the question because you just had me all caught up.
Oh, wow. Do people? I know I do that to her sometimes.
Not at all.
Wow.
Not at
So
all.
another man has you. Hey, show's open. I'm just
So what's the question?
Do people run from church and blame God because of what other people do?
Yes. That's it. Yes.
And why do you think people do that?
Because they're insecure, and maybe because they don't know what they want from church. We talked about church hurt. Maybe they're feeling that they're going to have some PTSD when they come to a new church, and the same thing's going to happen.
Okay. What do you think, Bishop?
Yes. We have to always remember this, that people don't see God. They see the ones who represent Him.
Okay.
So what they see in us who represent God is what they think about the God that we say we represent. So if they don't find what they're looking for in me or in some of the other men and women of God in the church, they say that God is mistreating them, when in actuality it's just the person that is immature or whatever that still has some issues. But God gets the blame for it, only because we have told everybody that we are His representative, that we're a child of God, that we're a believer, that we're a Christian, that we're a kingdom citizen, whatever the title may be. And so when we throw that title out there, it's like any title that you use, people expect to experience what that title represents. When they don't get that, then God gets the blame, and people exit stage left. You know, Elvis has left the building. You know, or whoever they are. You know, so that's where we just have to make sure that we're again better representatives of the kingdom. That's the key.
So from your guys' perspective, how do you think we can represent the kingdom more? Because I know each one of us deal with people in different kind of ways in our lives, right? On an everyday basis, right? And we experience maybe homelessness, or we experience these type of people, whatever. Like, how do you think we can represent Jesus more just from your own perspective? Like, if you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're talking to you and you say, how can I represent Jesus more?
I think we all individually have a different demographic that we're called to. So for me personally, because I deal with the streets a lot, deal with the prison system, deal with the lost, deal with the addicts, I think just being accountable and being to myself, like my personal relationship, if I'm really not having a personal relationship with God where when I'm down and out and feeling like there's nothing that could stop me from going on that old path, and, you know, I still have a conversation with God, kind of like what Osiris was saying, pulling myself back from the times when I want to whoop on somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you know, I done pulled myself out of some stuff that could have been very, very bad, because, you know, people will take you there, period. And, you know, not realize, hey, when they say you scared, go to church, I was scared of me, so I went to church. You know what I mean? So I think that for me to really help people see who Christ is, and it's just being transparent, being real with them, letting them know, like, look, man, this ain't going to be no perfect 100 all the way through walk. You're not going to get this all right, period, point blank. You're human, you're going to make a mistake, but be real with yourself. Cats in the streets, and that's in that life, they constantly talking about keeping it 100. I keep it 100. I'm real. So I use that, to my advantage when I want somebody to come into the fold of Christ. You say you real, okay. You want to change because you listening to what I got to say, you know. And that what Osiris said about that, do as I say and not as, you know, how the saying go. Sometimes you got to use that. you got to use that on a lot of people who are looking for Christ but don't want to, can't see him because of the people that they see that are not living it. Sometimes you gotta use what you gotta use, man, to get them nowadays, man. It's, the timing is short, so you gotta be transparent with them. Let them know, That's for my demographic,
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Now, Bishop, you got a whole nother demographic of people you deal with, brother. Some of them.
Yeah, just keep on, man.
Some of them in a casket, brother.
Oh.
Because he work in the mortuary. That's why I said
I can't help
that.
them, though.
Yeah, huh?
Can't help them.
Oh, no.
They in there.
Yeah.
Whatever happened prior to that, I can't change that, But one of the things the Lord had dropped up in my spirit, it's been a few weeks back, and I started this, and it was when he dropped it in my spirit to start this teaching on Tuesdays at lunch, a lunchtime Bible study. I didn't understand. I said, why in the world this title, but recognizing, of course, that they're not my people, it's not my message, I just follow him, so I yielded to it. But I can see now that I'm teaching it, that there's areas, I'll say in my own life, but I think in just the believers' lives across the board, where our spiritual sensitivity has become dull. So I believe that we can all be more effective in the way we represent Jesus if we become more sensitive to our surroundings, to the people that we're around, the people we encounter. Because many people that we encounter suffer silently. They're not even going to tell you. They're not going to talk about it. But if I'm prayed up, if I'm sensitive to the Spirit, and I walk into their presence, and God communicates something with me about them, it's amazing how them knowing that you don't know them, but God cares enough about them to share with you what they're going through, and you can address it. That's a magnet. I mean, people want something like that. So the topic that the Lord had me start sharing was this: drowning and nobody notices. Because there's so many people that are drowning, and we as believers walk right past them. And we don't say anything, we don't do anything to help them that are hurting. So I believe if we become more spiritually sensitive, I believe that we can begin to see an influx of people like we've never seen before.
Okay.
What came to my mind when you asked that question was the men ministry that we have here, which is called Iron Sharpen Iron. But if we take that and put it into human, it's like one person can sharpen another person. So when you say look yourself in the mirror and how I can help other people, help them get to know Jesus and God and everything, it's more about how I walk. And sometimes energy flows with you. So if you have a positive energy running around you, a lot of times you might get into a conversation with a stranger and you don't know why. That stranger might have needed somebody to talk to. And you just talking to them about their life and what's going on, and all of a sudden you start hearing their problems. And a lot of times people don't want to hear other people's problems, so they just, thank you, I've got to go. But if you sit there and just let them vent, they're not asking for an opinion. They're not asking for you to give them an answer. Because 9 times out of 10, they just want to get it off the chest. But if you're able to see it and you would give that person, like say, for instance, you walk into your job and somebody just walks up and gives you a, hey, good morning hug. You never know. That hug might mean more to them than it did to you. You just saying good morning. But to them, that was like something they needed. Because I've seen many times where I just walk up, hey, what's up? Good morning, give them that hug, but they hold on tight. And you don't know why they hold on. You're like, okay, we can let go now. But that they need that positiveness that we need to do. So if you want to look yourself in the mirror and then say, today I'm just going to walk around in a positive energy. I'm not going to allow negativity to come into my space. I always have a saying, God, take over my mind before I do when I wake up in the morning. That way, when I wake up, he's taking charge of what I'm going through. Because if I go through, It's going on, and somebody getting cussed out. You know, I'm just trying to be real, but it's like if I allow him to take over my mind, I have to look at things differently with a different aspect, with different eyes. So if I'm doing that, I don't go around preaching it though. I don't say the difference is I just let people see me doing what I'm doing, and they come to me. I'm not gonna go out there. You need to go see Jesus. You need to go to Jesus. No, because they're not gonna listen to that. I let them see my method and what I'm doing and say, why you always smiling and giving people hugs? Hey, today is a good day. No matter what I'm going through, today is going to be a good day. So I have to walk it so they can see it before I can start talking about it.
Okay. Cure. He needs to mute the mic for giving it too much. See?
She was already mesmerized with what I said.
Wow.
Not really. So first thing that came to mind was just set an example. And then I do agree with the demographics because I used to work with teens of all ages, and they would just word vomit on me. And it's all about, like Osiris said, just listening and being that light for that day because you never know what they're going through. And I also agree with, like, I was just walking around at Juneteenth, actually, and somebody approached me and just gave me a piece of paper. He said, put it in your pocket and read it later. It was all about the spirit and forgiveness and all these things, and I did have some unforgiveness in my heart, so that really helped me. So I do believe that we all walk around with a light, and maybe those people will see it, maybe they won't, but I definitely get approached a lot, and people just word vomit on me. I could know them, I could not know them, but that's my experience with dealing with that.
Okay. And I think with me, it's more of, if I look at myself in the mirror, and because I always want to be effective, like wherever I want to go, I always want to be just the light of Jesus. I don't care about the intention. I just want people to be saved, right? I want people to know Christ. And if I'm in an opportunity to do it, like if I'm in a place to do it, I want to do it. So my biggest thing is just being more obedient to God. Giving God more time. Spending time in the Word and just literally trusting in Him when He tells me to do something and really following through with it. Because, I mean, Kyrie will tell you, I have an issue with following through sometimes. Because my brain be up. Bishop, don't smile like that. You're on the camera. Shut up. Yeah, man, I guess. This ain't gonna turn into no bashing darn now. No, I'm just playing. But that's my biggest thing. Like, me and Osiris is my brother, you know, King Little. So they, you know, I could take that from them because of the fact that I know them. Like, I know Bishop, I know Carrie, you know what I'm saying? And if I know I got to work on stuff. And I think how I can be more effective as well as realizing, like, I need to work on stuff as well. I'm not perfect. I'm not above people. I'm not anything like that. I'm just Darnell. And Darnell is just a servant of the Lord. As much as I want to give 110%, sometimes I can't. You know what I mean? And it's because, like, I got a family, then it's like, I just want to serve God like 110%. You know, I was like, I don't really care about money. You know, I just want to serve God 110%. I want people to go to heaven. I want people to dance. I want people to come to church to experience life, and that starts with me and just saying yes to God. Like what Cyrus was saying, like renewing my mind every day and just going out there and obeying God and serving Him and just giving Him my all, and just being that example, you know, of how to follow Christ. Because, I mean, shoot, we're all human. We can do some stuff to steer somebody away from Christ real quick. You know what I'm saying? And like y'all said, people look for that. You know what I'm saying? People look for things to just, that's why I don't believe in God, or that's why I don't go to church. But, you know, before we end, here's the biggest question right now. I'm trying to word this question. How can church itself be more effective in the community that we're in? How can church itself be more effective in the community that we're in? Because, not to knock anybody else, but if you go down the street, you'll see 4, 5, 6 churches all along the street, like catty-corner from each other. You know what I'm saying? Which I have my personal issues with, but hey, whatever. But how can we be more effective as a church in the community that we're in?
stop hesitating. Stop hesitating when God tell you to do something. Just as fast as we wake up in the morning, like you said about the job, to go to work, to date our spouses and do something sweet for our spouses, to work out, anything that you put 100% effort into, start putting that even more effort into going outside the church and just giving your 100%, just giving your all, giving your life, man. If you, doing research, man, talking to people, asking the people what they want, you know, ask them what they want, ask them what is missing, what is missing in your life, what, you know, where are you hurting at? Like you said, listening. I learned listening to people, man. It works, man. It works a lot, man. We did an outreach once, and it was a guy who was homeless, and he used to carry around something that was, I think, his wife's ashes or something, and he was like, I don't believe in God. I don't want nobody praying for me. But because we just sat there and listened to him talk about how he didn't believe and, you know, how he worshiped this urn of his wife, he eventually allowed us to pray for him. From the prayer, he eventually accepted Christ. Something that he said, I'll never do that. But because we listen, I think we got to listen to what the people need. Listen to what they need, and then stop hesitating. Go give it to them, period. If it's food, if it's entertainment, if they need some music, free giveaways, whatever. Like, souls is at stake. Go, quit hesitating. Go out there. That's why I'm gangster about Christ, man. I'm going. Wherever I'm at, somebody going to get saved, man. You know what I mean? I don't care what I got going on in my life. Somebody going to get saved, man. And like I said, I got a song where I said something about catching the Holy Ghost while I was on the liquor. And some people be like, how you do that? But I remember being out there drunk, high, gone, wondering how I'm going to get out of this high and drunk that I'm in, because I was, you know, really gone, like in a dark place. And I remember somebody needed me to pray. Somebody needed me to pray, and, you know, I didn't hesitate. Mm-hmm. And I was sober after I prayed for him. So hesitation on what God telling you to do, stop hesitating. Get out there. Go save somebody. Talk to somebody. Ask them, you know.
I think the main thing is to, goes along with what the king just said, is not hesitating.
Yeah.
But I believe the hesitation comes when the church is improperly defined. The church is not the building, not the brick and mortar. Mm-hmm. We are the church. And everywhere you go is your pulpit. You know, so we've got to begin to see the value in getting outside of the four walls, recognizing that wherever we are, if our church is planted in a certain place, that it's not by accident, but it's purposeful. None of us are here on earth for our own accord. We're here on assignment. Mm-hmm. We've been deployed from heaven to earth to accomplish a certain task or to fulfill a mission. And when we begin to realize that, we know that there's certain territory that's been placed, that we've been placed over, that we are responsible and accountable to God to win that territory for the kingdom. So I believe, like I said, understanding that we are the church, that we have a responsibility, that God is holding us accountable, that he's not letting us off with any excuses. We got a job to do, and time is running short.
Yeah.
You know, so we got to get busy. We got to make it happen. And if we'll take that mindset and begin to live like that every single day, I believe we can be more effective in the things that we do.
I love it.
You said there's churches surrounding this church.
Yeah.
I think you need to stand out. You need to go into the community and tell them what you're doing, and if it's not what they want, or if they want more, offer it. That's how you're going to get the people here. And those other churches might not have what you have to offer. They might not have community. They might not have Fifth Sunday Rocks. They might not have a community like this church. but it's all about getting them out of the house, and maybe members of the church doing some footwork and walking across the street to the condos and the apartments and going to those businesses and kind of creating a network of people in this community and all these businesses that surround this church. So I think that's what's going to bring people here, is creating that network and doing some footwork and going out into the community.
Ooh, this is a good question. Good question.
That's why I asked it.
I know. That's why I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah. I think going back to, I think, part where he's talking about the demographic, we have a lot of ministries inside of the church. And a lot of times I think what we need to do to go out to the community is get them in touch with those ministries, where they don't have to come to the church first. They need to see how the church acts in their environment. So like have the men's ministry or the singles ministry or the marriage ministry or the family ministry or whatever type of ministry that we have out there. They are involved in that, because what they're seeing with that is, oh, the church is talking to me and my type of demographic. And then they're like, well, let me go to the church and see what's going on Sunday, because I had a great time at this men's ministry or the women's ministry or the singles ministry. Let me go and see what's going on in the church. Because they might not come to the church, but they might go to the ministry, the things that we're doing, because most ministry things that we do are not inside the church, they're outside. There might be events that we might be doing. They might need to see the people that is out there and see the type of people that's in the church before they want to walk in. But if we push our ministry out there and start talking to people about, hey, just come and visit, or we're going to have a men's meeting or a women's meeting over here, they might see something different, because in their mind, that's not the church. Oh, I'm going to go over here and have a breakfast over here with a few women, or they talk about singles, and I'm a single person, I need to know what's going on in the world. Things of that nature. If we hit their demographic of what they needing, then that could bring them to the church, because now they're like, well, I had a great time, and I like the people I met. Now we go over here and talk to them over here and then see what they're doing in church. So I think that would be like Kid said, do some footwork and get out there in the neighborhood.
That was my question. How are you going to do it?
Get the footwork. Get the footwork. You know, put the flyers up there. Start hitting doors. Darnell's going to do it first.
Well, honestly, man, with me, it comes down to the fact that it's being relational. Like you said, stepping out, man, being out there, talking to people. Sometimes we have to be the church in them places for the people who come to the church. And so it's being relational, being real with people, being transparent with people, being open with people, wanting to hang out with people. Like I've said this for years, that I want the people that nobody else wants. Give me the individuals that nobody else wants to be around, that people have given on. Give me those people, right? Because that's the same thing Jesus did. He went after Matthew, who was a tax collector. He went after Paul, who was Saul and kidnapping people. He went after Peter, who was a thug. Like, people didn't want to deal with these people. The person that was dealing with the spirit of the blood, the other person who was dealing with the disease, and nobody wanted to deal, and they pushed him off in other places. Jesus went to them people that people pushed away, but he didn't go to the Pharisees. The Pharisees came to him because they were threatened by him. So I want to go to those people where people are threatened by, or people don't want to deal with. I want to go to those people. Put me in the hood. I know years back, when a mutual friend of our, God Chaser, used to do concerts like on 24th and like Broadway or something like that. Like, we're deep in the hood. We used to go there and just rap. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he one of the people that will go in the community. Like, I'm going to go where you hang out at. Where you sell drugs at, I'm going to go right there. You know what I'm saying? And that's the type of person I like. When I was in Chicago for my uncle's funeral and these young people were on the corner just walking around, I was like, hey, hold on, let me go talk to them real quick. They was like, nah, because you can't, nah, let me go talk to them, because what y'all think is what they are, they may not be that. You know what I mean? So I think with us, it's more like, discipleship, but also learning how to evangelize in a more effective way. Having them conversations that, I think more churches, a lot of people are scared to have. Addressing those issues and those topics that I think a lot of people are afraid to address. Talking to people about some stuff that, we may not understand, but hey, let's walk through this thing together. You know what I mean? And then, like I said, that should have been the last question, but this is, I promise. Do you feel like Bishop should fire, do you, Do you feel like church people, pastors, whatever, do you feel like we run from questions and concerns that we're afraid of? Do you feel like we run from certain topics that we need to address? Do you feel like we avoid conversations that on certain things that we need to address? Do you think we run from those things?
I was just going to say this real quick. I don't think anybody on this panel has ran from anything. So it's kind of like, I tell my kids, there's no question you can ask me that's personal. Right. So any topic that they want to talk about, no matter what it's about, I'm going to talk to them about it. Because I want them to feel safe enough to be able to ask me anything and not be judged. You know, I'm going to listen to you and I'm not going to judge you. I will never judge what you're going through or what you tell me about, because you have to find somebody you got to talk to. I'd rather it be me. If you chose me, I want it to be me. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to tell you you're doing it wrong. I'm not going to tell you you should never do it, depending on what it is. But I mean, what I'm saying is I'm going to listen to you and help you walk yourself through it, and I'll be right there next to you. So the conversation of, is there a topic that I don't want to talk about? No.
No. Well, let me change it. Don't think of it like our church. Do you feel like the body or people in pastor positions and all that, or people in leadership, do you think that, and when I say we, it's because we're in these positions and we're in these stuff, do you feel like that we're afraid to talk about certain things because it will push certain people away?
Well, in the society right now, it's very sensitive. So if you want to talk about the society all around, it's a sensitive topic on anything. You know, we can't say, the words that we used to say back in the day, we can't say today. Mm-hmm. You know, the things that we talked about back in the day, we can't say today because it's too sensitive. The way we handle certain conversations, how we handle our children, all those things have now become very sensitive. So yes, there are sensitive conversations that a lot of people avoid because they don't want to hurt somebody else's feelings, or they don't want to make someone feel uncomfortable. So yes, in the society world, yes, there are a lot of topics that we won't talk about. But in this panel, I don't think so.
No, just like Bishop, like in general, you know what I'm saying?
I believe that there's a lot of times that we do avoid certain conversations. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of it has to do with, I think sometimes we think we need to have an answer for everything, which we may not.
Yeah.
I had to learn that I'm not going to know everything. You know, somebody asks me a question and I don't know the answer. I'm not going to try to answer it just to make you think that I'm smart.
Yeah. And
then I give you the wrong information. If I don't know, I'll tell you. I don't know. but I'm not going to leave it there.
Yeah.
I don't know. But give me a little time. I'll find out. And I'll get back with you. Because I think all of us need to understand we know what we know, but there's some things we just don't know.
Yeah.
And that's where, I think you said something about the network, you know, being connected to somebody else. If I don't know, King Little may know. Mm-hmm. So I'll say, hey, you know, I know this guy, I know this brother. That's his, that's where he operates, you know, so let me connect y'all. He'll address your situation, get you the answer that you need, and your life will be made the better. You know, I couldn't do it, but I know how to help you get through it by sending you to the king.
Yeah.
Take me to the king. I don't have much. Okay, all right, so I'm going to pass it on to the king because he knows what to do.
Okay.
Question again.
Do you feel like, just sum it up, do you feel like people run from certain topics, or do you feel like people run from certain questions because they don't want to hurt the feelings, or they don't want to, in quote unquote, disrespect in their eyes certain people?
Yeah, we do. We definitely run. Discernment. I think discernment causes us to be hesitant on answering certain questions and addressing certain things when it comes to soul saving. If we talking about soul saving, it's been a lot of times I'll be hesitant on answering certain questions because you can feel when somebody's not ready for transparency. You can feel when somebody's not ready to be held accountable, you know. So sometimes you gotta take another route.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't call it running, because when you say running, it's like I ain't running from nothing. You know what I mean? But I think that avoiding certain things, man, comes from having discernment. If you really allow the Holy Ghost to move you and have a discernment to say, okay, I might can't touch on this topic. I might can't answer this question, so let me try another approach. But I think we all we all know where the answers is at. So, you know, hopefully that'll help somebody not to run or hesitate. You know, so but yeah.
Okay. Nothing. So, I'll say this, that, and like I said, no answer is a wrong answer, right? So in those aspects, yeah, you're right. You know what I mean? You got to be sensitive to the Holy Spirit when you're having conversations with certain people. And then on the other hand, I always make the statement is, don't ask me a question if you're not ready for my answer. I'm going to be very transparent about certain topics and certain things. Some things I don't believe in, but I won't bash you for doing it. You know, I'm going to love you for it. Certain things that I'm going to address, certain things that I'm going to be real about, certain things I'm going to be very transparent about. And so when I say running, it's when you bring up certain topics, do we move back from answering them because we don't want to hurt or lose people, right? Do we not tell the truth because we don't want to hurt or lose people? We don't, you know, stand on the word of God when it comes to it because we don't want to hurt or lose people, so we choose not to address it. So with that being said, I mean, we're definitely going to do this again. We're definitely going to, you know, meet at the lounge again and get to chopping this fable about a lot of different topics. But again, I want to appreciate my man King Little. I want to appreciate Bishop Rick. I want to appreciate Kiri. I want to appreciate Osiris for coming through, and everybody that came through in the building and watching online. Listen, man, this is what we do at the Message Church. We're real transparent, and we keep it open and true. You know what I mean? And we're doing church in a way that where it's going to be effective. So come join us each and every Sunday here at the Message Church. Where, Bishop? 2219. They can't hear you.
2219 South 48th Street, Suite I and J, Tempe, Arizona 85282. It's going up at 10 a.m. You don't want to miss it. Matter of fact, you want to be with us on this coming Sunday. It's going to be phenomenal. You don't want to miss Fifth Sunday Rocks at the Message Church. It's going to be a lot of things going on. Something for everybody, children, youth, college age, and adults. We're going to all come together, and we're going to let Jesus know that we love him.
I love it. So again, my man King Little's going to be hitting the stage. We got Cheyenne who's going to be hitting the stage. So it's going to be incredible. Don't miss out. It's going down. So again, I appreciate you guys so much for coming through.